Hi everyone, I'm Anna, 3D character artist for game dev, and this is my YouTube channel, Anisa Ginja Art. I haven't recorded any videos for a while because I didn't had any topics which I was supposed to talk about. I kind of ran out of ideas and I didn't want to record the content just for the sake of making content. But now finally I have something exciting to share. And I hope you will find something new and useful for your 3D art career in this video. I've recently finished a new character for my portfolio and this character is fully mine, except for the concept. The project, which is not under NDA, not to be released in 5 years, just a personal project which I can talk about. So I decided to record the making of video, the video of process, a breakdown of this character where I explain the whole pipeline of creating this character. And somewhere in this video I will show you where exactly I used artificial intelligence. That was our little tiny part, so don't unsubscribe, please. I'm still a normal artist. Right away, I want to say that I totally messed up and didn't record any time lapses of creation process of this character. I only have a couple of videos of making of the katana, the weapon which carries this character, and some footage from my ZBrush live streams for Max on ZBrush YouTube. Normally I record everything, but this time I just forgot. Also, for the symbolic $7 monthly subscription to my Patreon, you can get access to the video where I go over the game dev pipeline nuances which I encountered during creating this project. I've recorded exclusive content for my patrons explaining some specific things about creating game-ready character using this character which I created as an example. These are real peculiarities which are hard to find online. It is stuff which you find usually when you get a job. And it is way better to be prepared and to know these nuances in advance. So you're welcome to join my Patreon, the link in the description. And also if you want to get career consultation from me or to apply for my mentorship, send me a direct message on Instagram. The link to my Instagram is also in the description. Now, why did I choose this concept? Because it is pretty straightforward. It came with clear front and back views, which I absolutely love, and I don't need to guess what is behind the character, what pose he has, what proportion it has, and I don't need to invent anything using this concept. Another reason, it is not overloaded with millions of details, which usually take months to model all if the character has really millions of details. I know concepts that are really gorgeous, but making them in 3D will take like a year only for the high poly if you are working like part-time 2 hours a day if you have a full-time job, and it's not the case. I didn't want to take such a concept and to create a character in a year. Actually, this is a fast track to get burnt out and having yet another character which will go to your folder with unfinished projects. And honestly, I even put this project aside for the whole year because I got tired of it. Let's be real, this concept isn't the most unique, not the most difficult to model, or not the most complex among the concepts which you can find on ArtStation. I chose it mainly just to make a character quickly by the full pipeline of game creation. My portfolio is 70% high poly and this is not great. I just wanted to finish something first to prove again that I'm capable of making characters according to the game dev pipeline, because let's be honest, no one cares that I can when everything I've worked on is under NDA and you can't show it. And now, just a quick note for those who are asking how to get job in game dev. This character represents an average production level. At work, you will be making characters of similar complexity. Of course, we are not talking about like the mobile games which were simple, and we are not talking about games like Uncharted, The Last of Us, God of War and others. This character, this concept is kind of average on the market. If you don't have years of experience, choose something like this for your portfolio. There weren't any difficulties with this project. I didn't learn anything new during this project. Just a solid, well-made game dev model. And that was my goal. Unlike my project Cyberpunk goal, where I tried semi-realism, X-Gen hair rendering in Arnold, sculpting realistic skin and so on. Here, everything was smooth and confident. By the way, I've recorded and making a video of my Cyberpunk goal, which you can also find on this channel. I will leave the link in the description. High poly stage. I spent 2 years on the high poly stage. Because I started it during my ZBrush live streams, got tired, got distracted, moved to Italy, got another job, and I absolutely forgot about this character. But in April this year, I decided to return to this character and to finish it and to make it according to the full game dev pipeline. God thanks, the high poly was already 90% done. Here is how the high poly looked like when I reopened the project this year in April. No detailing, but almost all the meshes were already created. And this is how the high poly looked up when I finished it actually. Everything is sculpted, everything is detailed and ready for the retopo. Important advice for the beginners. Your high poly should be super clean. Any mess will be baked into your normal maps, ambient occlusion map, and to other maps, and you will be unable to fix this later. So take your time because high poly is one of the most crucial stages of the whole game dev pipeline. If you don't pay necessary attention to your high poly, you may stop and not continue because nothing good will go out of this project if your high poly is not looking good. Take some chamomile tea and work slowly, listening to the nature sounds in your headphones. Retopology. Retopology is my favorite part of the game dev pipeline. Super relaxing. For me, it's a kind of meditation. The planned poly count was up to 50k trees, and eventually my character together with Katana is 46k. This is pretty standard poly count for an average game dev character. All the games I worked on over the past years had this poly count. It lets to keep your silhouette without making the model too heavy. Remember, just using the lowest subdivision level from your ZBrush file won't work for the game dev pipeline. The logic behind the topology for ZBrush and topology for game dev is totally different. After a topo, I had about 10 meshes for this character, while in ZBrush it was up to 100. I explained what exactly I baked and what I left for the retopo and why in the video, which is already available on my Patreon by subscription. Link in the description to this video. Also, always check for n-gons. If you have them, it's a big red flag and you need immediately fix them. UVs. I made UVs in the Resume UV and in my opinion it is the best program for making UVs. I really don't like making UVs in Maya, it's just uncomfortable. By the way, I use the bridge between Maya and Resume UV, so I don't need to waste time for exporting and importing the mesh back and forward. Super handy, reminds me of the bridge which is GoZ between ZBrush and Maya. I bought it on ArtStation and I'll leave the link to this bridge for the ArtStation in the description to this video also. This character has 5 UV sets and maybe we can say that 6 if you count the katana too. I split them into upper body, lower body, hair, head plus hands and eyes. Why? Again, just industry average. That's how we did it on Seekers of Skywhale project. And by the way, you can check the characters which I made for this game on my ArtStation. There are 4 characters on my ArtStation from this game. Baking. Nothing fancy here. I always bake in Marmoset. I prefer Marmoset to Substance Painter more because I find Marmoset more comfortable for baking and much easier to control everything. But artifacts do happen. I know a great trick how to fix them in Photoshop just in 10 minutes so well that anyone will ever know that they ever were there. And I shared this trick on my video on my Patreon, so you're welcome to watch it there. As for the maps which I baked, standard package which we need for Substance Painter, and it's normals, 2 types, ambient occlusion, curvature, position and thickness. But I did messed up with material ID. I got lazy and skipped it. Why do we need material ID? Because by this map it's much easier for you to add masks to your materials, to your different materials in Substance Painter. I thought I didn't need it because I don't have a lot of different materials on my character, but I ended up hand painting all these maps for 3 hours. Could have been done in 20 minutes if I have baked that map. Honestly, I always forget about this map. You need to assign very contrasting colors in that brush to bake it, and I just never remember. So I end up always painting this mask in Substance Painter by hand, and I always curse myself for not returning to that brush, assigning contrasting colors, and just bake this map. However, my brain always goes with, it's fine, it's almost done, we don't need to bake anything more. And then I spend hours on hand painting masks. Texturing. Texturing is my least favorite part. I've never been fond of painting, so this stage never excites me. It's always a mental battle. Just do it well so we can finally go to rendering. This character is in semi-hand paint, semi-PBR style, neither fully stylized nor realistic. Base color was built with hand paint logic, but not fully hand paint. I also use standard PBR mobs like roughness and metalness. For roughness, I converted it from the base color in Substance Painter and tweaked it a little bit. Metalness, here is a tip. If you want your metal to be red like metal but not have harsh contrast in shadows, keep the metallic value below 1, not fully 100% metallic. And how I made the base color without fully hand painting it, that's also in my Patreon video. It really makes the process easier and much faster. Posing. As much as I try to force myself to learn rigging, I gave up again. I've been in game dev for 10 years and I still don't see the point of deliberately learning rigging. It's not a character artist's job, it's rigger's job. And maybe I still have a trauma of my early days when at courses I was forced to build rigs manually, not using all these advanced skeletons and so on. It was just manual building that rig and I never managed to make a really decent rig. I really never could do it right. So I posed my character in ZBrush using Transpose Master as usual. And then I fixed some mini artifacts using the Move brush, again in ZBrush. A little tip, once your pose is done and you return to all subtools, assign the base color texture directly in ZBrush, just to check if anything is stretched. If yes, fix it with the Move brush. Also, when assigning textures in that brush, remember to flip them vertically. In the texture menu, we have this flip V. ZBrush flips them for no reason because I don't know why. It's ZBrush algorithm and I'm not a programmer. Rendering. I used to hate rendering because it never worked. Then I learned how to do a proper render and I fell in love with this process. Now it's my second favorite stage after the Retopo. When it comes to rendering in Marmoset, I know everything. I even made a course on it. And if you're interested in my course, you can find it on the Flipped Normal website. I will leave the link to my course in the description to this video as well. Rendering took about 2 hours and honestly I'm very happy with the result. A quick tip, if your render looks good but lack contrast, use the curves tool in Photoshop. Add a bit of contrast. And I also always add a noise filter, it gives a cinematic vibe. Use it. And now very provocative question, where did I use AI? Yes, I did use AI for one render. I don't understand the Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, but since I pay subscription for ChatGPT, I gave it a render and asked to generate a background for my character. And here it is how the background looks like. I blurred it a little bit in Photoshop and placed it in Marmoset on the backdrop. It's fine. Not wow, but anyway, I added it. That was the only situation when I used AI, so please don't unsubscribe. Final thoughts. I'm genuinely happy that I finished this long forgotten character. It saved me at least 1 month of work since the high poly was almost ready. I still have 2-3 high polys which are ready and I want to finish them properly according to the full game dev pipeline. Right now I'm not in the mood to overachieve or build super complex unique characters. They take forever and I just want to update my portfolio with solid work without spending ages. Client work goes first, but personal projects drag forever with no deadlines and of course, no pay. If you have unfinished hypolis, my recommendation, finish them. Time is limited and you don't want to spend the whole life making characters for your work in progress folder. So this is it for today. Don't forget about the Patreon. There is a super useful video on the game dev pipeline and nuances of this project. And also, if you want to get my mentorship or to get my career consultation, send me a direct message on Instagram, the link in the description to this video. And check my rendering course, which is on the Flip Normals website. Subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and I will see you in the next video.